Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in here with me. I definitely appreciate it. As always, if you could like, share, subscribe the video, I would be very grateful for that. And if you wanted to check out what I'm doing as well on the written blog, you can check that down in the description. The link below is going to be there for that. I actually just did a review of the movie Run that kind of ties in a little bit to what I'm going to be talking about today. So that was a movie that was originally supposed to be coming out around Mother's Day weekend earlier this year, and of course it got pushed back due to the pandemic. Hulu ended up picking it up, and so now it's on Hulu. It debuted like a few weeks ago. So you can check out the review for that, like I said, at the written blog. Link is going to be below. I would definitely appreciate if you took a gander at that as well. But I'm going to get straight into what is going to be the big topic for me today. And it's a huge announcement that Warner Brothers just made earlier today, and that's the fact that they're going to be taking their, at least what seems like the bulk of it, their 2021 slate of movies, and moving those to HBO Max. Not necessarily exclusively, but they're going to be having those movies debut on HBO Max and in theaters simultaneously. So yeah, so if you are a subscriber to HBO Max, you'll have the opportunity to pull up the brand new movies there the day that it comes out, or you can watch it in theaters, or if you're somebody somewhere where maybe theaters aren't open at the moment, you could just watch it from the comfort of your home. But that announcement from them is huge, and some people may, not to say anybody's dumb or anything like that, but they just may not be into kind of the more business side of movies and things like that. Not to say that I'm an expert or anything like that, because I'm surely not, but they may not realize what type of ramifications that could have. I remember saying kind of similar things around the time that Disney had decided to move Mulan to Disney Plus and have its debut and initial rollout done on Disney Plus. And I remember just kind of waxing poetic at the time that maybe this will be, for other major studios that have access to their own, kind of streaming service, the way that Disney does, the way that Warner Brothers does with HBO Max, to see if they could start shifting some of their bigger projects to that streaming service. And HBO Max actually made the decision to do that beforehand, before they made this announcement, really, with Wonder Woman 1984. So Wonder Woman 1984, of course, was gonna come out this past summer. Looked to be probably one of the signature tentpole movies for Warner Brothers this year, and most likely would have made a lot of money. The first Wonder Woman did pretty well, so I think it's kind of a safe bet to assume that the sequel is going to do pretty well too. And it ended up, of course, getting pushed back, and then they finally made the decision that they were going to release it on Christmas on HBO Max, and it was going to be debuting in theaters as well at the same time. So that was kind of the first little, power play that they had made. And then, like I said, for them to announce, now just to get an idea of what we're talking about here, so their 2021 slate is going to include some big movies and big potential money making movies, right? Because you got things like The Matrix 4, the Suicide Squad, which is going to be like the second Suicide Squad movie. You got Dune. You've got Godzilla versus Kong. Space Jam 2. the new Mortal Kombat movie, The Conjuring 3. So when you're talking about these are big time IPs, and again, like I was saying, just really potential money makers. They have some other kind of higher profile titles that they're going to be doing as well. But for me, I kind of locked in and honed in on those because, like I said, those are big franchise potential blockbuster type of movies, and they're going to be putting those on streaming at the same time as putting them in the theaters. And one of the reasons that this could be really significant um, is the fact because what they're planning to do is initially putting these on HBO Max for the first 31 days. So they'll debut simultaneously. They'll be on HBO Max 31 days. After that, they'll be removed off of HBO Max, and then they'll be running in theaters exclusively. And one of the things that makes this, such a big deal is the fact that a lot of movies, a lot of movies, especially kind of the blockbusters, because the blockbusters are very front loaded. They're very much get you in those first couple weekends. The majority of movies are gonna make their money in the first 31 days, right? Like most people that are coming out to see these movies, you usually get the most bang for your buck in that first 31 days. So if you're in the exhibition business, like if you're a theater or whether it be independent theater or you're a theater chain looking to get some of these movies, you're talking about the first month, which again is where a lot of these movies are making the bulk of their money, that you're gonna have a disadvantage. Essentially, you're going to have those profits be cut into because there are going to be those people that are going to decide to just stay in the comfort, of their homes for convenience sake, right? Not even necessarily for safety sake. We've seen people don't really care about the safety here in some respects, but just for convenience sake, they're going to stay home and they're going to just flip on HBO Max and watch these movies. They're not going to come out to the theater in droves. They're not going to come and, pack out your concession stands and do the other little kind of ancillary things where movie theater chains make a lot of their money, right? Like you're not. Plus, you're talking about theaters being open, or in a situation where if more of them start to reopen, they're probably not going to be at capacity anyway, right? So there's already a disadvantage in that you're not going to be able to sell out shows, and now you're going to probably even have less seats filled up because people are going to just stay home and just decide to watch it from there. Which, I mean, you can't really blame people. You know what I mean? Especially if they're talking about doing this, it wouldn't be an extra cost to HBO Max subscribers, so there wouldn't be any premium video on demand fee, kind of like there was for Milan. If you're already a subscriber signed up, you're gonna be able to see that movie the day that it debuts. So yeah, if you've already paid for the HBO Max subscription, why would you go out and spend 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks at a movie? If you're going with yourself and a significant other or friends or with your kids, spouse, what have you, like why do that? You know what I mean? So that's a pretty big deal. That is a pretty big deal. And it's I believe it's been announced that Warner Brothers didn't really consult with the theater chains before making that move, which which is kind of the same type of situation that a movie like AMC specifically got upset with Universal for doing, not consulting when they just decided to release Trolls World Tour earlier this year. So it's like the same kind of situation. Warner Brothers has kind of unilaterally decided that this is going to be the direction that they're going in, how they're marketing it as this hybrid exhibition model. And it's also been reported that they didn't even consult with some of their partners, like Legendary Films, which is a company they've got stakes in movie like Dune and like Godzilla versus Kong. So it's being reported that they didn't even really tell them, that this was coming. So that's another potential, um, kind of a bit of tension that we could see kind of in the future. But yeah, I mean the biggest thing I think that I would say a concern to me, is just the we have seen, of course. I've said it before on my blog, and if you're anybody that's kind of followed even vaguely movie news and things like that, you've seen, that the pandemic, like everything else, has had a major effect on the movie theater industry and just movie going period, like the actual movie studios as well. Like they've pushed tons of movies back, some of them indefinitely. They've just pulled there are some movies that have been kind of pushed back some months, some that have been pushed back a year, and some that they've pulled from their slate entirely. They've had to postpone shooting movies that were scheduled to come out on certain dates. That's bumped them back. Movie theaters have had a large chunk of them have had to completely shut down, and they're already in a situation where their profit margin is razor thin. So they're I don't think a lot of people really realize that to have kind of large groups of movie theaters closed the way they are is not good for them. Like that's not really putting them in a good situation at all. Not necessarily saying you have to sympathize with them. I know that again, like the pandemic, there are people struggling, losing jobs all over the place, and this is just entertainment. So I get that, but just if you're just humoring me here, yeah, like that. I mean that is a very big deal, and I think we are possibly in a situation that if this move, we won't know how it's going to pay off. Disney still hasn't even really said what the numbers have looked like for Mulan. Like there's I don't believe there's been any kind of public announcement for that. So I don't know if that move actually really was good for them, if it paid off, if it didn't, because they haven't really told people. I know it wasn't reviewed too well, but as far as if it gave them the kick that they wanted for driving up subscriptions for Disney Plus, and if they got kind of enough money from the premium VOD fees to kind of justify doing what they did with that move, we don't really know that. They haven't said anything about that. So in HBO's case, they're in a situation where they're trying something new, they're trying something different, and who's to say if it's going to work or if it won't. But if it does end up becoming successful, again, you gotta expect other studios are going to be looking to do the same thing. You know what I mean? And if everybody does that, right, you're talking about a situation of where, I mean, again, I understand there are more important things that are going on, but you're talking about a situation potentially where movie theaters could die. The movie theater and just the movie going experience could die, and maybe not die completely and totally, but I think as we know it, you know what I mean, definitely a situation of where for a city, where you have, because there's usually major city, like you even think Metro Detroit area, there's 6, 7 different movie theaters that you can go to at any different point to kind of see a big movie that's coming out, right? And I think that if this, like I said, this ends up being a success for HBO Max, other studios are going to be looking to do the same thing. And if they all do that same thing, where they're again putting movies on these streaming services, or if they do like a premium VOD option and they're cutting movie theaters out at the time when the most people are going to see the movie, like I said, that first 30, 31 days, month and a half, whatever. If you're going to be cut, if there's all these studios that decide at the same time, okay, we want to do something similar, we want deals like that as well, the movie theaters are going to have no choice but to start shutting down locations. So it's like, maybe, like I said, maybe the movie going experience and theater going experience doesn't die completely, but maybe there's only one or two major theaters in your large metropolitan area. You know what I mean? As opposed to any given number of different ones that you can go. This one downtown, this one in the suburbs. This one's over here. I think we could see a situation where that's not going to be the case anymore, because the as I said, the movie theater chains and things like that are already on a razor thin, kind of slim margin of error is what they're working with, and they're definitely, the pandemic is exacerbating that, and this would only multiply on top of that. So for me, that would be very sad. I'm somebody that loves going to the movies. Just in practice, like, even if I end up going to the movies and seeing something that I think is garbage, like I see a movie that I think is terrible, just the ritual of getting ready, getting in my car, driving to the theater, walking up to the box office, getting my ticket, maybe getting a snack or two, sitting down in the seat, watching the previews. Like, I love that experience. I love that feeling, when I do that. And it just looks like further and further, we're getting pushed towards, maybe that possibly being a rarity. You know what I mean? And it's shifting more so to the streaming, and to just kind of offering, the primarily the option to watch that in your home. And that's I'm, as somebody that, again, that loves going to the movies, I think there are certain films that were meant to be experienced in the theater. I will always feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, I think there are just certain cinematic experiences that were made for movie theaters. So it would be very sad for me to see that go. But again, the pandemic has changed society in a lot of ways, has forever altered society in a lot of ways. So this could be just one more thing that does change. So, but like I said, we have to see. I mean, this could end up being something where HBO Max, comes out with all this, and Warner Brothers ends up seeing the final numbers on it and may not like what they see, and they may put a halt to it. So we don't know what the future holds. We're gonna just have to kind of sit and be patient. But yeah, we'll just kind of see where it goes. So what do you guys think? Do you see this as a good move? You see this as a bad move? Do you see it as a win, as a potential loss for Warner Brothers? Let me know your thoughts below if you would. Again, like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. I would definitely appreciate it. That has been my rant for today. And again, please check me out on the written blog, and I will catch you guys next time.